What you waiting for? It's time. Time for love. It's time. Time for the sun and sand. It's time. Time for fun. It's time. It's time. It's time to let your hair down. Come on. Come on. Come on. To have no fear. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. It's time. What you waiting for? It's time. 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 What you waiting for?
And I'm actually prepared this time. Hello, 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 and welcome to another edition of the Merv Britto Show. Happy Easter, everybody. We're doing a show on this Easter Sunday, and we're thrilled, as we've been telling all of you guys. We've got some special guests in the house. We've been promoting them all week. Very interesting, some lovely people with some very interesting stuff that's actually happening and going to happen very soon. But first, as we always do on the show, we want to say hello to the rest of the team, starting with Mr. Ajoy Barreto. He's far away from the mic today.
Hey guys, wish everybody a happy Easter and have a wonderful day.
Turkey, gobble, gobble. Also, the one and only Mr. Wilbert Cardozo.
Hello, everyone. Happy Easter to everyone and have a wonderful evening.
All the way from the Middle East, we've got this fellow with the lovely hat on. You can't see him. Thank God you can't see him. He's easy on the eyes. The one and only Mr. Kirsten Riberosa.
Today I'm from Russia, actually, so not Middle East.
Baba, your accent sounds the same. Every week your accent, you sound like you're an Arab, man. You don't sound Russian.
I'll try to work on it, okay?
You do a lot more than that. Ladies and gentlemen, the good-smelling Mr. Neil Rodriguez.
Hey guys, happy Easter. May the force be with you.
No, Josh, how's the joke?
That's in May. You're a bit early.
And last, but I always say definitely not least, the wordsmith, the wordinator. She's not on a camera today. The lovely Mrs. Joanne Brito.
Hi, everybody. Great to be back with you. Happy Easter. And also National Maritime Day here in India. I don't know whether you know this, but it observes the maiden voyage of the SS Loyalty from Mumbai to London in 1919. Would you believe it?
That's a nice little tidbit of information. You can see in the background today, for Easter Sunday, I'm using my favorite church in Goa, the one and only, the most famous church. I think it's the best church in Goa, the Saligao Church, Mãe de Deus, as a background. And I've said to you so many times, we actually wanted to have a couple of priests come on the show. Father Dennis is too shy. Father Dennis, I'm going to hold you to it. He will be on the show sooner or later. It would have been a good time to have him on the show and speak on Easter Sunday to him about the religion and a lot of different topics, but
he's busy. He's been at church, obviously he's at church every single day, but Easter's the busiest time of year to be at
Father
church.
Elroy de Gama, Father Dennis, we're going to hold you to it. They're from my favorite parish, my favorite village, and my favorite church, the Saligao Church. But I am so excited. I'm going to get into the guests that we have today. They were so kind. It's an interesting mixture. It's a combination of talent, skill, knowledge. There's so many great things. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce the one and only Associate Professor R. Benedito Ferrão. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us on the show, and a very happy Easter to your listeners and viewers.
The artist, she's a full-time architect, but she's the artist we're going to talk to more about. We're going to be displaying some of the artwork, some of the beautiful artwork. They're going to have a show starting on the 10th of April. The one and only Maria Vanessa de Sa. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Merv, and lovely to be here, and wishing everyone a happy Easter.
A happy Easter, yes, indeedy. He's in the wings today, sitting behind Joanne. Doc is very shy. He doesn't want to be on camera, but he's the guy that's putting all of this together. He's going to help him. We're going to speak to him. We're going to squeeze him. We're going to drag him onto the camera in a little while. But the one and only Dr. Vishvesh Prabhakar Kandolkar is here in the house. We would say hello to you, sir. Thank you for putting this together and coordinating with Joanne from Japan.
My goodness. Have you been drinking old monk on Easter Sunday?
I will be getting to it. You know what? I'm looking forward to a little bit of turkey. I really
Not
do.
lamb?
No, I don't do lamb. Dude. Some turkey, some treats for Easter. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day. I want to jump right into this. There is a very interesting book that has come out and that's going to be promoted, and they're going to have artwork from this very, very talented doctor. I'm going to call her Dr. Vanessa de Sa, who's going to have the artwork put together. Benedito, I want to start with asking you some questions. Your background, how did this all come together? You've written this book. Tell me a little bit about your background and what made this project come together.
Sure, thanks so much. So I'm, as you said, an associate professor of English and Asian and Pacific Islander American Studies at William & Mary, which is in Virginia in the US. My primary focus is on literary representation of Goan characters in fiction that connects South Asia, Africa, and the West. It's the subject of my forthcoming monograph across continents, writing Goans Making Worlds.
Wow.
But this project sort of emerges from my interest in the literary representation of Goans. Mm-hmm. For this particular book, I want to try my hand at writing a children's story, which is something I've never done before. So I hope the audience receives it well. I basically wanted to touch on something that is a subject that's close to my heart, which is the sorts of things that go into raising children, and particularly in the context of Goan culture, and the ways that parents sometimes think that they are doing their best by their children by sort of holding on to ideas that they could perhaps think about a little bit more. And so the story is built as a children's story for adults, because we're both Vanessa and I have thought of this as something that could be shared by parents and children alike.
Shall I just say, why don't you tell everybody the name of the book?
Sure, good idea. It's called The Girl Who Wears the Color of Nothing. And it has to do most directly with colorism or skin color.
It's on the screen right now. You, ladies and gentlemen, you can see it, and we're going to keep showing different art that Vanessa has actually beautifully depicted in this book. By the way, Benedito, were you born in India?
No, I was actually born in Kuwait.
In Kuwait?
Yeah.
And what is the India connection, though? Parents are from India?
Yeah, both my parents are Goan. My mum's from East Africa, and my dad was born in Goa during the Portuguese era.
What part of Goa?
Aldona.
In Aldona?
Yes.
Both of them?
No, my mum's family are from Marseille.
From Marseille. Okay.
Yeah.
I love the Goan connection. That's what we're all about. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to get to Vanessa, and I forgot to do this, but before I get to Vanessa, it's a live interactive show that we do every week. If you're tuning in for the first time, we love to hear from you. Have you call us. You can check us on social media. Willie, do me one favor. I mentioned, thanks for reminding me, by the way. Kirsten, you're doing a bang up job, mate. I want to throw you off the balcony. Thank you for telling me and reminding me about the social media handles. Put them on the screen for us right now. If you want to know more about these beautiful people and the lovely work they're doing, we're going to put some information on our social media pages. You can see it on your screen right now. Anywhere you get your social media, The Merv Britto Show, on our website, themervbrittoshow.com. And if you want to call in, give them a shout out, say something, we'd love to hear from you. You can call the number 7507-246-246. WhatsApp us. You can come with us, come live on the air, or you can have an audio call if you're too shy. Get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to jump right back in. I've got to start asking some more questions about this beautiful book. Vanessa, you've done the artwork for this book, for this beautiful book, The Girl Who Was the Color of Nothing. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and your connection to Goa, obviously, and what's put this all together?
Yes, thank you for the question. And I think when it started out, Benny read to us. We had a reading session, and immediately I could connect, the Goan context and the very familiar while growing up stories to this. So the story, while being unique, it was very uncommon, but what we heard a lot and familiar during when we were younger. So then from this story, what was very important in the process was how the art and the text could be brought about, and it had to reflect a lot of the themes from Goa had to be reflected in the art. So that was one of the big hints for me to work on the
There's some
artwork.
beautiful. We've got them on the screen right now. We're going to be put. Every time I say that, you'll change the darn screen.
That's
What are you
some
trying
of
to
the
trick me?
different
Yeah,
artwork.
That's not the
from the
artwork.
book.
That's not the artwork. That is a painting incomplete. There's some beautiful. I've seen some of these pictures, and I love the connection to Goa. Benny, can I call you Benny? Is
Sure,
that
of
okay,
course,
Benedito,
yeah.
rather than say that each time? Benny,
fine.
is this one single story? Is it multiple stories in this book?
It's a single story.
Okay.
And it's based on the 4th century legend of Our Lady of the Snows, which is a story that comes to us from Rome. As your viewers and listeners might know, there is also an Our Lady of the Snows church in Raya, which is in the south of Goa. So the story goes, the story that inspired me to write my children's book with Vanessa, there was a childless couple in Rome in the 4th century, and they prayed and prayed for a child. And one fine day, they were visited upon by an apparition who is the Virgin Mary. And she said to them, I will grant you your wish of having a child if you'll do something for me. I'd like you to build me a church.
Wow.
So they said, how will we know where this church should be built? And she said, you will know. So they waited for a sign. And one day in August, on the 5th of August to be exact, it snowed on one of the 7 mountains of Rome.
Wow.
And so they knew, of course, it doesn't snow in August, and it snowed on this one exact spot. So this must be a sign. And that's where they built the Church of Our Lady of the Snows. Now, history tells us that possibly the first first artistic representation of the Virgin to come to South Asia by missionizing efforts from Europe was actually that of Our Lady of the Snows, and that was in the 16th century. The thing that fascinated me was this idea of there being snow in the tropics, and that's something that makes an appearance in the story, and which Vanessa has used to great effect in depicting the story. So this is something that really captured my imagination, and I wanted to think about snow both in the tropics, but also of snow as a symbol of lightness of skin and of beauty.
Okay, so I'm absolutely blown away by the book. By the way, I've known just a little bit. I've read a little bit about and know a little bit about from speaking to you guys. We're going to get into the book, and I love the fact that it's an adult. You mentioned how you put it is it's an adult book that you can read along with kids, right? It's
Right.
for grown up children kind of thing, and I love that.
Yeah.
Because it's in this day and age, adults need all that parenting help they can get.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that this book is, and it's beautiful. It's got some great artwork, Vanessa's artwork in it. But I had never heard of Our Lady of the Snows. You mentioned this was in Cochin was the first.
So according to historians, the first place to have received an image from Europe of the Virgin Mary was possibly Cochin.
Wow.
Right, which was part of Portuguese India.
Yeah.
That's where the Portuguese first landed, right?
Yeah.
So a Nossa Senhora de Neves, Our Lady of the Snows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joanne, you made this happen today, and I'm so glad you did.
Well, Benedito, he contacted us just at the right time, and I just thought it sounded perfect because you've got the exhibition starting on the 10th of April. So it's absolutely perfect timing.
Well, thank you.
Beautiful. And it's in a great place in our own backyard in Panjim in Fontainhas.
Absolutely. But I think there seem to be quite a lot of fortuitous connections also because of the fact that you're here on sabbatical here in Goa, that you actually live in Virginia really full time, which is where Mervyn grew up over in Virginia.
He's an associate professor at a very prestigious university.
Absolutely.
And that's So that blows me away. That's.
But I was saying to him that in terms of when we first had the vision of the show, when Ajoy, myself, and Mervyn were first collaborating, that I tell you the honest truth was the first time I ever heard about Diaspora was when we were sitting in the old studio, Merv, at the back of your mum's.
Yeah.
And I thought it was Diaspora. And I'm thinking, what's Diaspora? But the whole point is, you know, what you really major in terms of what you're talking about is appealing across the globe to the diaspora and also bringing more of those messages from India and Goa to the rest of the world, which is, you know, an amazing role that you actually have.
We're gonna be putting up. Kirsten's gonna be putting up the artwork that's in this book. You mentioned that it's on the 10th of April in Fontainebleau. What's the gallery? Gitanjali gallery?
It's Gallery Gitanjali, yes. But this is at their smaller unit, which is Panjim Pusada. It's a lovely setting for this exhibition. So it's very close to the main gallery in Fontainebleau.
We don't
going on to the 19th of April.
That's
from the
right.
10th to the 19th.
Yeah.
Correct.
The girl who was the color of nothing is interesting, and I want to get into more details about this book. We don't normally promote something. There's no financial connection. We're not being paid. We're not paying them. On Easter Sunday, I wanted to tie in, and Joanne, Ajoy, and myself spoke about the fact that we wanted to have something that is meaningful as people that celebrate Easter, as Christians that celebrate Easter. It's not about religion. It's not about selling books. It's not about anything more than the fact that you've got to have a good heart. There's so many lessons that our parents have tried to teach us and ingrain in us growing up into young adults and then having our own children. I thought this would be really interesting. I want you to describe, Vanessa, you want to do, or we're going to let Benny get into the actual, a synopsis of what the story is about, because it's very common. It happens here in India all the time, the color of your skin and all the products they do. What is The Girl Who Was the Color of Nothing actually about?
Benny.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna get Benny.
I'll start, but then I'll try.
The elevator pitch.
Yeah, right. So in the story, there's this family, and they want to have a daughter who is light-skinned. And this is something that they actually pray to Our Lady of the Snows for. And the prayer that the mother offers privately to the deity is, she says, "My prayer is simple. I want a child as purely colored as the snow." That allowed this couple in Rome to know where to build you a church. Okay. And much later on in the story, the Virgin appears to her and says to her, basically, be careful what you wish for, because even snow melts.
Oh, of course.
So this idea that the thing that you wish for, right, is something that you should be really careful about. In the story, they do have a child that is very beautiful, is very light-skinned, which, you know, is no mystery because both the parents are very light-skinned. But then they become so obsessed with the color of the skin of their child that they are convinced that their child is being darkened by the most random things, like stray light from the window, or playing with children who are darker than her. Right. And so they go about this regime of lightening their child's skin even further by bleaching it, by powdering it. If you're dark-skinned and you've grown up in a South Asian household, you're very familiar with even if you're not dark-skinned perhaps, very familiar with the ritual of being powdered by your parents.
Oh yeah. The Michael Jackson effect.
Or Elizabeth I.
Right.
Dude.
And like Vanessa was saying, I wanted to give the story an element of, even though it's a story that is original, I wanted it to have touches of things that people recognize.
Yeah.
But as a scholar of Portuguese India and its diaspora, as you mentioned, Joanne, I also wanted to give this story a little bit of a feel of the 19th century, because in many ways I feel that both in Goa and the diaspora, we sometimes still live in the 19th century.
Right.
How do we let go of ideas that we've held on to for so long without questioning them? And this is why this is a children's story for adults. That's the way we're billing it, because I want this to be a shared activity between children and their parents to start really thinking about, why is it that we're so invested in these notions of skin skin color being attached to our sense of self, or even the way that we look on a regular basis, why can't we just sort of be happy with the way that we look?
Of course.
It's an interesting question. And here again, in this day and age when they're selling beauty products, I still don't get it. Benny, I don't get it on the shelves. Vanessa, you still have products, whitening products.
Yeah, that Fair and Lovely.
Fair and Lovely. I don't get it, dude.
Yeah.
People from all over the world, the grass is always greener. You Brits come to Goa and you guys will sit and bake in the sun on the beach with some suntan lotion.
Well, I don't.
Wanted to get darker. and our Indians that are maybe a little bit darker in complexion want to get... The people actually spend money on this stuff.
Absolutely,
and I don't get it. It is so common in our Goan culture, in our Indian culture, that everybody wants to be lighter, fairer. You always want something you can't have. Vanessa, this is a good window, but it's a good opportunity. It's a good break in how to explain to children. It has nothing to do with color, the color of your skin, right? If you had a child that is going through a tough time, or when in the process of growing up, and they have these very strange questions, this is a great way to sit down and read a book along with your child with this beautiful artwork to explain a really, really difficult a topic of skin complexion. How does your artwork, or did you do this artwork specially for this book?
Yes. So we've all heard these stories. In fact, I've heard from my grandmother, when the powder was over, she would sometimes use rice powder for her skin. Wow. So, and we grew up listening to these stories, and so those were very narrow standards. And I think when you came across this book for the first time, we were able to question the narrow standards of beauty. So, and even when we are reading it to our kids now, there's this explanation and discussion which we can have around this topic, which was very relevant.
Can I ask you one thing? Is that something that children, right now, people are talking about that at school and in colleges and things like that? Because as far as I was concerned, I thought people were moving on from those kind of hang-ups. But is that something that's still very, very topical for children growing up these days?
I would say so, yeah. But I mean, it's a great topic and a great way to be able to break the ice and explain to a child it has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
I think you're absolutely right, Merv. I think, that these are things that sort of circulate, and there isn't a kind of, starting point to have this conversation, right? So we're hoping that what the book does, and the fact that it's illustrated and actually shows you pictures and so on, lends itself to the activity of reading to a child and sharing the images with them, right? I think you do need to have examples. You do need to have settings where you are able to say to children, what do you think of this story? Yeah. Is it okay that, this child was treated so poorly, as they find out in the story, and to then sort of have this really honest conversation about, how do you feel when people say to you, you're too dark, or, are you okay with the color of your skin, right? And to really ask, where is it that we get these ideas from?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So we were approached by a reporter who said, mirrored something that you just said, Merv, about, we come from this progressive society. We're in a different time now. Have we moved past these notions of skin color?
Yeah.
And I think beauty has become such a big industry in South Asia and India in particular, as India has emerged on the world market and so on. And not only will you find the kinds of skin lightening products that you mentioned, Joanne, but also cosmetics that are trying to promote a skin tone that doesn't match the majority of South Asians who would consume those products, right? But besides the kind of beauty industry and so on, for us, I think what was really important was to think about how these things are tied to self-worth.
Absolutely.
And a sense of self, right? So that when a child starts to ask questions, that parents should be able to engage with them.
Definitely. And it's also linked in with body positivity, because obviously, with, more and more young adults and children having access to social media and all of that kind of stuff, there's lots of different pressures that come upon them, things that we probably didn't have to deal with when we were growing up. But they're in that kind of generation where it's just extremely prevalent. So there's lots of additional pressures that everybody has to deal with these days. And I think giving everybody the opportunity, to understand that it is more about you being a great person, being the best version of yourself,
Right.
you know, being loving, caring, giving, all
More
of that
important.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Much more important.
Absolutely. You know, and it's, you know, it's not all linked to, you know, how well you do academically or if you're great on the sports field or anything like that. It's, are you a good person and have you been instilled great values by your parents, your family and friends around you?
Yeah.
We've spoken about this on the show many times. In this day and age where everything is so fast paced and everybody's in a hurry, everything's on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, social media. Nobody sits down to read a good book. And the opportunity to take this book and sit down with kids and have this conversation. This is one of many topics. And I hope you guys do many more books, because these are the kind of conversations you do want to have. They may be awkward. They may be strange for adults to communicate about, to converse about, but the opportunity to sit down with a child and speak about something that we've grown up hearing. And until you farm and you educate and you start from a very, very young age, just because your parents made a big deal about the color of your skin, you don't, whether you're light or you're dark. We were always told by our parents, it's more about the content of your character, not the color of your skin. It's your heart. It's how good a person you are. It has nothing to do. You can have one eye, you can have the best looking whoever, but it's not about how you look. It's the content of your character. And that's what I need. That's what I think needs to be instilled. Great opportunity to sit down with a child. You mentioned this book is loosely based on Our Lady of the Snows.
On the legend of Our Lady of the Snows, yes.
On the legend of Our Lady of the Snows,
Yeah.
And when so you guys the book is out already.
It will be launched at the
launch on the 10th?
At the exhibition on the 10th. That's when people will be able to buy it for the first time.
Can I ask you mentioned Fontainebleau?
Yeah.
This place is going to host it. You guys are going to be on the 10th. You're going to launch the book. You guys are both going to be there. The artwork is all going to be there for a while. It'll be there just 9 days
Till the 19th. Yeah. Yeah.
Vanessa, I got to ask you, what inspired? How did you get into? Obviously, an architect, very accomplished architect. What got you into art? Is that a hobby? You do it when you're stressed out to relax, whatever the case may be. But the art, was it specially done for the book, or you used a lot of the art you have?
Yes. As a student of architecture, both in architecture college and for my studies at CEPT University, there was a lot of exposure to artwork and of course all the local art. I did also work with many Goan artists, namely Apurva Kulkarni, artist Praveen Naik, attended a few classes. But when I came across this book, the context and the tone of the story set off the theme for the artwork. So the work had to be made specially for this book.
Wow. So this artwork is going to be on display. This is specially made for the book.
Yes. So the exhibition will have paintings made for this book and the few pages of the book itself. So both things.
Are you selling it as well? And are you selling the artwork as well?
Yes.
Yeah?
So the work. So the nice thing about the gallery show is that obviously when you put together an illustrated book, the illustrations change.
Yeah.
What this show will do it'll give people the opportunity to see Vanessa's work as it was first created,
right,
before it was manipulated for the page. So that's quite special. And although I wrote the story, it was very much with Vanessa's art in mind.
Yeah.
We'd had conversations about working together, and we had worked together previously. But particularly for this book, one of the things that I wanted to do was not only think about the context of skin color and so on, I also wanted to think about, Merv, you were talking about how this is a very common story in Goan families, no doubt. But I also want to think about this from a much larger perspective. And this is why the story of the church and a little bit of religion comes in as well, because these are sometimes institutionally kind of supported in ways that we don't even question, right? Yeah. So in the book, in as much as there is the story of a family and skin color, it also touches on a little bit of caste and class as well, which become kind of coded in skin color too. right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So it's got this kind of, lighter message of it being a sort of children's story, but it's also thinking about institutions in Goa and the way that these perpetuate our ideas about identity.
It's something that I grew up in the States. I grew up in Virginia, and it's something that I always, back of my head, always paid a lot of attention to. If you're a different color, and when we moved there as kids, it was tough. My poor sister Jackie had the worst of it. She moved at the most awkward time as a young adult, and we looked different, we spoke different, we smelled different, we sounded different. Everything was different about us. And kids at that age are brutal,
right?
Especially a little Indian kid who's coming into society in the States and going to school with kids can be tough. It's a hard lesson. We got through it, and we're all the better for it. But religion, and not just because we're the Christians and Catholicism, but there's always racism everywhere.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean in a bad. I'm not trying to carry a load or anything. Our Indians can be some of the most racist people. You've always got opinions about everybody else, no matter what religion or race or caste or creed you are. You've always got some kind of pushback about everybody else and how you're better than everybody else. Color of your skin shouldn't be one of those things, but I think it's a great way, and it's one of the many conversations that this day and age that parents should be having with their children.
I think, the context of Virginia is a really interesting one because in many ways it's primarily black or white, right? And, over the last few years, you have seen an increase in multicultural diversity, if you will, right? So you've got more Latinos, more Asian Americans, and so on. South Asians being a very small population in Virginia. And very often the skin color things sort of, and caste lend themselves to both an anti-blackness as well as a proximity to whiteness, right? And so the story in many ways, yes, is a Goan story, but it does have a universal kind of, reach as well.
There are many, many parents that struggle to have children. And I've heard these fables and these tales about how you can grant me a wish nowadays with IVF and all that kind of stuff. People didn't know back in the day they would pray, as you would do. I love the fact that even back in the day, people would promise anything to have children.
Right.
And when you start digging deeper into the story, how the hell did they afford to build a church? You got me the baby. How am I going to build a church? It's a tall tale.
It could have been a Goan chapel, really.
Yeah.
And was there money left over to raise the child after?
Well, yeah, exactly.
I genuinely, I've said this many times, you can't buy brains, so it doesn't make a difference what religion, what caste, what creed, race you are. It's more about how good of a person you are. We celebrate all religions. We've celebrated Diwali, we celebrated Eid, we're celebrating Easter today. But the fact of the matter remains, in the States, it was more about black and white, like you mentioned. In India, you've still, Vanessa, you've still got so many hang-ups, not just about the religion you are, about the caste, the creed, where you fit into society.
I was going to say even females in society.
And women nowadays. Yeah. I still don't get it. I still don't understand how people can be so, not anti-women, but it's a patriarchal society, right? And women struggle here.
Not always as forward-thinking as they should be. And I think that's something you've got a lot of insight into because of, what your lectures, feminism and all of that kind of stuff as well. I mean, maybe give us a little bit of background as to why you got into those things as well, because I think it's all interlinked, because I think throughout the conversation we'll keep circling back to the book and the story and the links and all of those, the way in which India is progressing and all. So it would be interesting to get a little bit of insight into, your area of expertise.
Thanks, Joanne. You said something really interesting earlier about diaspora, and as somebody who is a scholar of literature and slowly moving into art history and criticism as well, and I have Vanessa to thank for, sort of exposing me to that world too. You're familiar with the art form of theatre, which is the theatrical art form. Something I think we forget is that the first performance of theatre did not occur in Goa. It happened in the Goan diaspora in Bombay. It's an art form that is entirely tied to diaspora. So even these forms of cultural production that are so closely tied to Goan identity, right? Goan identity in as it's expressed artistically and literarily, right, doesn't only come from Goa. It comes from its diaspora as well. And I think that one of the things that diaspora does is to expose people to these different ways of being that Goans had to develop because of the exposure to other parts of the world, right? The Goan person is not going to be the same once they leave Goa.
Yeah.
But also they bring those ideas back into Goa.
Yes.
Right. And that's where you see changes in attitudes. I'm not saying these things don't occur in Goa as well. You see changes in attitude around caste, around race, around gender as well, because women are able to do something differently outside of Goa than they would have been able to do in Goa, for example. Many of these things are encapsulated in literary forms and in artistic forms as well. And this is why the study of Goan literature and Goan art and the championing of Goan writers and artists is extremely important.
Yes.
In Goa, you do have a lot of art and a lot of literary production. There's the artistic festival of serendipity, which happens every year.
Yep.
Yeah.
The question is how much of that actually promotes Goan artists and Goan writers themselves.
Yes, that's true.
Right? So,
Benny, you're an associate professor at William and Mary in Virginia, in Richmond, you mentioned. What exactly, English and the Asian Pacific Islander American Studies, what exactly is the study and what do you actually teach at William and Mary?
yeah. So I was, funnily enough, was hired to teach a course on Portuguese India. That was what I was hired for. And it's a course that is now the subject of my forthcoming monograph, Across Continents, Writing Goans, Making Worlds, which will be out in August. But it was actually very traumatic for me to teach about Goan representation in literature, especially at a college there's actually a technical term for it, a PWI, a predominantly white institution.
Gotcha.
I am a scholar of race and representation in literature. And so as somebody who focuses on Asian and Pacific Islander American representation, what this means is it allows me to teach material that is by Asian American writers. I teach a course on the cinema of South Asian diaspora. And I also teach courses on stuff as diverse as post-colonial renditions of Shakespeare, and kind of bridging the gap between older forms of literature and more contemporary work. I want my students to be exposed to a diverse world for writers, and by diverse, I don't only mean race, I also mean gender and sexuality and so on. And this is something that I'm grateful to the college for giving me the opportunity to do. Sadly, while I did once have this course on Portuguese India and Goan representation in literature, one is hard pressed to come by courses that are similar in Goa itself.
Yeah.
So even though we have a Goa College of Art and we have various universities and colleges in Goa, the study of Goan literature and Goan art is something that is not institutionalized. There are smatterings of it, but there aren't dedicated courses to Goan literature and Goan art. And this is something I hope that changes over time.
Because I was going to ask you originally what would have attracted the students to those particular courses, and then how will they be able to use those once
this is a great question.
Studies?
This is a great question. Thank you so much. As I was saying about our children's book, even though it has a very Goan context, it also has a very, very universal context. The stories, I think anytime we read a story, we can gain something from it that is not specific to its cultural context alone, right? So when we think of something as simple as telling time, no one just says today, tomorrow, yesterday. It's always embedded in a narrative, right? You'll say something like, well, that happened yesterday. You'll never just say yesterday, right? And so in the very relation of telling time through a narrative, you are engaging with another person, right?
Yeah.
And so stories become the way through which we engage with other people. It becomes the way that we learn about other people.
Absolutely.
Right? And so it might be the context through which you learn about a culture you'd never heard of, or about a place you've never been to or may never go to, right? but that very understanding allows you to relate to other people, even if they're not from the same cultural context.
Yeah. So that's that art of storytelling. Sorry, Merv. I was just going to say, like, sort of like early to mid 2000s, you know, they started talking about the art of storytelling because obviously a lot of history has been handed down verbally in a lot of cultures.
Oral history, oral tradition. Absolutely.
So there's all of that. Obviously, advertising, the whole advertising marketing industry is all around storytelling and things like that. So I do think it's quite fascinating, you know, this subject that you also teach, and then that deeper dive within that, and then broadening it out, not just to the topic of India and South Asia, because like you say, you learn those lessons across cultures and across borders, essentially.
Absolutely.
And then there's so many of those stories that are echoed in different countries around the world.
Right.
And that's where you can get that connectivity with humans, that one-on-one connection through these stories and the interlinking them. It's phenomenal.
I think it's great. I'm just going to ask Vanessa, you mentioned a couple of really interesting Goan artists, people you've worked with and people locally that are known. It is sad because we've got so much talent here in Goa, and art galleries now, especially in Fontainhas and the Mala area, it's picking up. They've revamped. It's looking really, really nice. They've redone, and it's always a beautiful part of the city, and all the tourists go there. You've got a lot of galleries there that you don't really see a lot of our Goans going to. You mentioned a bunch of the names, Vanessa. How some of these people, who are some of these really prolific artists that have been around for a while? I'm going to ask you questions about some of the people that you've worked with that you can promote right here in Goa, the artists.
Yes. That's a wonderful question because we have the work of Angela Ferrao, who's doing some amazing
no relation.
Right. We had an exhibition. We worked previously for an exhibition that was again held in Gallery Gitanjali. And we also have many artists. Viraj Naik is one of the very prolific Goan artist, yes. And
Loretti Pinto.
Yes. Praveen Naik.
Yeah. These is there? I don't know. This is probably not the question you want to hear. Is there money to be made in art in India? I mean, you've got so many talented people. Last week we spoke about how all our talent in India and Goa and India just can't wait to get out to do well and succeed and be rich and famous elsewhere. Some of the top IIT students, by the way, are running some of the top companies in the world. Google. We went through the list. Art is you've got Subodh Kekar locally here in Goa that everybody knows about, blah, blah, blah. The point I'm trying to make is you've got so many talented people. Is art able, or an artist able, to make a decent living in Goa?
That's a tricky question, I think.
It's tough, yeah. You've got to be able to display your artwork. You've got so many galleries, but at the end of the day, it's trying to get people come in and see the work and buy the artwork to support the artists. But we've definitely got the talent.
No doubt. I mean, I think it's also about creating a culture of art appreciation in Goa. Right? So you'd be able to show a young student in Goa an image of the Mona Lisa, and they'd be able to tell you what it is. Right? Short of you showing them an image by Mario de Miranda.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Ask a young Goan person if they could name you a Goan artist, and they'd probably not be able to.
Yeah.
Right?
That's sad.
Right? Because so that tells you that there isn't a culture developed around the appreciation of art. I think, yes, it may not be the case that you're going to make money on art tomorrow. But art isn't just fine art. It is a skill that you could that could be used for so many other things. I mean, people who are architects don't just build houses.
Absolutely.
They also now do design in video games, right? So there's, these are skills that are portable.
Different types of art.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And design, part of it is design as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think that, anything worth investing your energy in is something that should be encouraged and should allow people to take it in the directions that they want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've got a question for you, because you three have worked on a project together, which I love the name of this. The destination is the journey.
Yes.
I love that because people don't ever say it like that. So that's phenomenal.
Right.
And so essentially that you're saying it was loosely based on the many lives of Vamona Navelcar.
Yeah, I'll say it for you. Spit it out.
Please say it. I didn't put my teeth in properly.
Who's, by the way, I want to ask you, we've seen, it's on the screen right now. Explain this. Tell us a little bit about The Destination is the Journey by Vamona Navelcar.
So Vamona Navelcar was a Goan artist who had a phenomenal life. He sadly passed away in 2021 at the ripe old age of 92.
Wow.
And speak of an artist who, like Vanessa was saying, she creates art every day. Vamona was so inspiring up till the time he was too ill to do it.
Yeah.
Well into being 1991, he would just practically on any surface he could get a hold of, he would sketch, he would paint, and so on.
Yeah.
He had a really challenging life. So our book is called Goa, Portugal, Mozambique, The Many Lives of Vamona Navelcar. And it's a project that both Vanessa and Vishvesh and our friend Fernando, who designed the cover of the book for as well. So this accompanied an exhibition that took place in Goa in 2017 and 2018. And it was my first foray into curating an exhibition. And so I was very grateful to Vanessa and Vishvesh and the rest of our team for helping us. The importance of this exhibition was that, sadly, this was the last time that Vamona's art was seen publicly during his lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Vamona was born and raised in Goa. He was given a scholarship to study art in Portugal. And you're not going to believe this. The person that gave him the scholarship was António de Oliveira Salazar, who was the then dictator of Portugal.
Oh, my word.
Right? And so it was a kind of tactical, political kind of ploy.
Yeah.
And Vamona, who had never worked outside of South Asia, went to become a student of art in Portugal. But this was during the rise of the anti-colonial movement. And so he found himself in Portugal in the midst of, things just sort of going haywire.
Oh, dear.
His scholarship was pulled from under his feet because he refused to become politically involved.
Yeah.
And as a result of which, he wound up going into exile, and he found himself in Mozambique, which at that point was still a Portuguese colony.
Right.
He was a teacher in Mozambique for a few years, but, as was happening with the anti-colonial struggle, it started to spread and was on the rise in Mozambique as well.
Yeah.
At this point in time, Vamona actually became involved in the anti-colonial struggle and lent his art to posters that were used in the anti-Portuguese movement. When independence came about, Frelimo was the government that came into power. And as happens with new governments, they tried to do lots of things. They tried, many sorts of new endeavors, but they were also a little bit repressive because they were trying to, get their footing.
Right.
They imprisoned lots of people that they thought were against them. Amongst them was Vamona and his students. They were thrown into a hard labor camp in Mozambique.
My word.
And when it was discovered that Vamona was in this prison, this one minister tried to get him out. And Vamona said to them, will you also release my students? And they said no. And he said, well, in that case, I'm staying.
Wow.
And he served out his term.
Wow.
When he was released eventually with his students, because he was a Portuguese citizen, he had to return to Portugal. But at that point, Portugal had already gone through the Carnation Revolution. No one was buying art. And it was at this stage that he returned to Goa, which was now part of India.
Yeah.
But he'd lived, primarily lived outside of Goa at this point. So when he returned to Goa, no one really knew who he was as an artist. And so he didn't live in penury, but he did live in the state of not being known in his own homeland.
Oh, what a shame.
And the work that we did for the exhibition and in this book, and the Destination is the Journey is a graphic novella that appears in our book. Vamona provided the illustrations for it, and the story basically it's loosely based on his life. One of the things that we wanted to think about in the exhibition, the book and the graphic novella, is what does it mean to be a Goan who says at the same time that they are Goan, Portuguese, and Mozambican, right? Because Vamona was all of those things, right? Yeah. And so to return to the question you were asking about diaspora, Joanne, this is the really unique thing about Goa, which is such a tiny place. It's been influenced by so many other histories and places as well.
Absolutely.
And it shows up in our art, it shows up in our literature, which is not just South Asian alone.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I was just scrolling through some of the artworks that you'd sent and some of the articles. And I was really struck. There was 2 lovely paintings of the Last Supper as well.
By Vamona, yeah.
Yeah, which is just obviously, given that it's Easter, obviously we've just all gone through all of that.
This was just a really wonderful thing about Vamona, who was inspired by many icons, including Fernando Pessoa, the Portuguese poet, Rabindranath Tagore, and Christ was a very important figure to him. So even though, as you can tell from his name, he was a Hindu man, he was very Goan in the sort of notion that Goan identity in many ways is Catholic, regardless of whether one is Catholic or not, because it is a very huge part of Goan culture and tradition, right? To say that one is influenced by Catholicism is to not just say that one is inspired by the religion and its scripture. It's also the messages that go beyond the religion. And for Vamona he painted Christ, he painted the Madonna. This Last Supper garnered a lot of interest at the exhibition. As you can see, it's a very South Asian retelling of the tale of the Last Supper, because it's showing these brown men in the center of a forest, perhaps, seated cross-legged on the ground and sharing a meal together, right? For him, Catholicism was as South Asian as his Goan identity was.
Right.
So even though he was not raised Catholic, it was part of his sense of being as a Goan person.
That's nice. It's all.
Have you seen the pictures? These pictures are being displayed on the screen. I just put that up there again. I want to see that. I counted 13. Is that 13?
It should be. It's the 12 apostles and Christ.
And Jesus. Did you think it was a baker's dozen?
I thought there was a message that I had uncovered that Mr. Navelcar had tried and put it in there to sneak by me, and I'm sharp as a bowling ball.
You're just used to seeing them sitting at the long table, aren't you?
No. Did you get the joke? I'm sharp as a bowling. Never mind. You'll get it on the way home. I love that. Navelcar obviously is a Hindu name, and that's something I'm so proud of. We call this place home when we've grown up here. Yes, through all the division and all the racism, as you'd call it, we've grown up in Goa over many, many years, living in harmony with everybody. And I'm so proud of the fact that Hindus, Catholics, Sikhs, Muslims, everybody lives side by side. We celebrate each other's feasts and functions. And it's only on rare occasion when people actually make it a bigger deal than it needs to be. We take it for granted. We do this without any problems. We've done this for many, many years. It's never been an issue until somebody actually makes it an issue. And you've got enough pain and discomfort in this world. And that's something that makes me so proud as a Goan, that you have people from all races, religions living side by side, neighbors. And this is by the way, the topic, the book about that you guys have written is a great example of another way to be able to speak to a younger generation, explain to them it's not about anything other than what you can be as fair or as dark as you want to. More important to be a good person, no?
Totally. And I think that this takes conversations, even religious harmony, right, is not something one can take for granted. Vishvesh, who is sitting on the sidelines, has a wonderful essay in this book, actually.
Does he?
which is about Vamona's sort of, take on Catholic identity. Vishvesh says that, you'll even find Goan politicians of Catholic identity in Goa say, at the end of the day, everyone in Goa has a touch of Hindu identity in them. And Vishvesh actually reverses that trend by saying, well, actually, everyone in Goa has a touch of Catholic identity in them. And he doesn't mean that religiously.
Yeah.
What he means is that, as you were saying, Merv, again, for being such a small place, we have so much religious diversity, so many different kinds of diversity.
Yeah.
Even Muslim identity is a part of Goan identity. And these are things that we can't take for granted. It is important to have conversations about these things because they are always at threat. Right?
Absolutely.
Always under threat.
And I think with so much globalization as well these days, I think there's a lot of countries around the world that are actually trying to hang on to their history and their language as well to be able to promote that. And absolutely right that they should be doing that because so many of these amazing stories, so many of these people of history, so many of these historic events that have occurred, so many people that you just might automatically think, that it's always going to be ingrained in people. Then you go down a generation, they don't necessarily know these things. Even for parents sitting down and reading books with their kids doesn't happen as much as it used to.
No, absolutely.
And it's bringing those things back together again, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You absolutely need to. I got to ask you this question. I don't know, you, Vanessa, or Benny would know this. I'm very proud of the fact that we've got this guy, and I call him this guy, but you obviously heard of Souza, the painter. And legend has it that he's been around Goa now. Souza's artwork, by the way, sells for millions all around the world. You can buy, but he's the question I'm asking you is this the same Souza that goes around? He's painted in Panjim. He's painted a couple of places in my village of Saligao at the institute outside the Saligao. The Saligao Institute in Saligao in Panjim. These are actual paintings by the Souza?
The person you're referring to is the grandson of F.N. Souza. Is
this the grandson who's doing these?
Yes.
He's like, what's the guy in the UK who's
Banksy.
Like Banksy. Nobody's seen the guy, but it's amazing to have, even if it is the grandson, have these amazing pieces of art just in public. And you can go and you can see and you can observe, and it's beautiful. So this is his grandson.
It is his grandson. I think that is important to have a public culture in Goa that imbibes the art of Goans. I will make the small distinction, however, that is interesting to me, that so much effort was put into bringing a diasporic artist into Goa to sort of, create this public culture. And as I was saying before, yes, the diaspora is very integral to Goan art and culture. But I think that there need to be more platforms for Goan artists residing in Goa themselves. We've just come back actually from seeing the annual show that happens at Goa College of Art, where they put up the work of all of the students from, the first up to the fourth year, is it?
Yes.
And the talent is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But the resources that they have to work with are so limited.
Yeah.
And despite this, they're able to do such wonderful things.
Yeah.
Merv, you were asking earlier about, the living that can be made from doing art. Goan people need to go to the Goa College of Art and see what's being produced there, right? They need to ask questions about why is it that there aren't exhibitions of art by Goan people in Goa?
Yeah.
We need to put pressure on our existing institutions, be they the government, be they the church. I mean, Saligao Church, lovely place, could have space for Goan artists as well, right?
You've got so many, and there's so many different forms of art. Obviously, there's so many different forms of art. You're absolutely right. I asked that question not for any other reason that we've got so many different types of artists that try and earn eke a living, but that's not high on the list of priorities nowadays in this day of age. Who wants to spend the time and go and appreciate somebody else's rendition of whatever their creation is, right? And if it were more popular and more prominent, more prevalent, you'd have a lot more artists that were able to display their work and have crowds. come and see and appreciate, possibly purchase and support these artists, which we need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, you tuned to the Merv Britto Show. We are talking to some very, very inspirational people. By the way, I wanted to ask you, who's going to be the target audience for this show? Vanessa, who's going to be your target audience? Is it parents, kids, a mixture of both?
Hopefully all people from Goa can come and be at the show, as well as, more of the local people from Panjim and parents with families from all over, parents and children, kids too, yes.
So it's not only
children from the neighborhood. And
will it cost anything if we wanted to come to the Gitanjali gallery? It's completely free.
Yes, no entry fee.
We're very fortunate. The gallery has been very, very kind to us. Gallery Gitanjali. It is a free show. The publication of the book and the exhibition have been supported by the Lu Zhang Foundation, who gave money to William and Mary to help support this work. But the book is available for sale. We do have to recoup some costs. By Goan art, by Goan writing, by Goan literature. And I do have to say also, this is Vanessa's first solo show.
Hey.
And I'm really looking forward to people getting to know her as an artist.
Very thankful to Benny and Vishvesh for their support and this opportunity for her.
She could have done it without us. We wouldn't have a show if Vanessa wasn't such a great artist.
Absolutely.
But guys, you guys make such a great team, and it's such a lovely, lovely. But I really do hope people take this advantage. You don't often get a chance to go to an art gallery and admire work for free. There's always a charge and stuff, and it's a shame. It's really sad because people don't take more advantage of it. You can go and see there are some very super talented artists in Goa, and you don't really know a whole lot about them. And that's part of the reason we wanted to do this, but also because of the religious connotation to the story. I think it's so important. I hope people take advantage of this. The book will be up for sale?
Yes.
Starting on the 10th?
That's right. In fact, for folks coming in on the 10th, they'll get the book at a discount.
Hey.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Fantastic. That's great. And so, aside from selling it at the exhibition itself, how else will it be distributed?
Right. So folks are welcome to contact us via our email or social media handles.
Yeah.
But also we will try to make the book available at local bookstores.
Yeah.
Also, and we have an event coming up with the Children's Library Bookworm, which is in May.
Fantastic. That's great.
We'll be doing some other things.
Throughout the show, we've been putting these images on the screen. You've seen a lot of the artwork. You've seen a lot of the paintings. And so that is amazing stuff. Vanessa, you are absolutely amazing. I've seen, can we have some more details about this? You've been flashing them across the screen about this thing, right? Some of this stuff is just mind blowing that it's been out there and nobody knows about it. If you'd like more information, check us out. Check out our social media. We'll put some links to where you can get more information about this. There is a number. You've actually put your number. I'm not going to read it out. I won't read out your number, Benny. Your number's on the screen. But we will definitely, anywhere you get your social media, we put it on the screen right now. We will put a link to where you can go and contact them or see more information on there's a website, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is there a website? You want to promote the website?
There isn't a website, but social media is probably the best way to get a hold of it.
How? Which is the social media handle people get in touch with?
I'm at Night Child Nexus, which is on the screen at the moment, and Vanessa
at van.d.sa at Instagram.
Get in touch with them. There it is.
Promote those. We can promote those.
Look at that. Look at the artwork. I'd have never even got a chance. Scroll down for me. Kristen's finger's working. There you go. Check this out. This is amazing. So this is the first time you've had any of your artwork shown. This is obviously not the stuff from the book. Or is this part of the stuff of the book? This is completely different.
It's related work, but
you definitely
there was special artwork for the book.
It always breaks my heart. And my sister Paula brought this to my attention many, many months ago when she did the Camino. I don't know if you've heard about the Camino walk, right?
In Spain.
In Spain.
Yes.
Spain.
And she did that, Spain, Portugal, she did that, and she couldn't stop talking about it. And there's something she always mentioned to me that I'd love to promote and see happen here. We've got some amazing structures, architectural structures, churches, temples, mosques, really old buildings. And you could do a Camino in Goa.
Totally. This is, in fact, Vishvesh's wheelhouse. He's got a book on the Basilica Borghese, and in fact, another one coming out, which is an edited volume. It's like a coffee table book that will commemorate the Basilica as well as its present outgoing rector. So Vishvesh will be able to provide you.
I got it. You know what? I'm going to put him on the spot. Doc, I got to get you on the microphone. I got to ask you this question. Come on, you can't stand in the shadow that long. You got to come out into the spotlight. We've been talking to your wife, and she's an artist, but you in your own right. Listen, you're very knowledgeable. I don't know if you could hear what I was saying about all of these beautiful structures, something that we've had right here in our home, in some place we love so much, Goa. We've got amazing temples, we've got churches, we've got mosques, we've got really, really old structures, something in your wheelhouse. Tell us a little bit about, we always talk about the fact that, is anybody actually protecting these? All around the world, these are protected sites. We spoke briefly about the Camino. Does anybody take care of these beautiful buildings and structures in Goa?
This is part of a very big question. I would say yes and no. Yes is because there are many monuments which are already UNESCO World Heritage Sites.
In Goa, yeah?
In Goa. So Archaeological Survey of India is supposed to protect them, and they're doing some work. But there are a lot of other buildings which are not even recognized, I would say. For example, many churches or many smaller temples which are going out of, they are being reconstructed.
Disrepair.
Yeah. So we have people who've been talking about it and documenting it. In fact, we just had research scholars come and document some of the oldest temples because, as you know, temples are being broken down, the Goan temples, to build bigger temples because we think that being big is beautiful, which is not the case. So we are trying to make some promotions in Architecture College, among other places, to say that, hey, look, we have something very interesting here. We need to just focus, curate it. Like you said, if we have some walks, if we have some talks, there'll be more which we can do. I also want to say about art, like we always take it for granted that there are no galleries, but if you just go walk into any church, there are always artworks on it. It is just that even those works are not being spoken about and there is no information available, so we don't know how to appreciate them. There's somebody like Vamona Navelcar knew how to bring them into his contemporary art, and so therefore we can see those art. But there's always art around us. If we pay attention to any of the stuff that we have around in Goa, there's enough and more to go. I guess if it was US, for instance, even if there is a fallen paper by a ex-president, we would make a big thing out of it and we'd have a museum around it. But here we have so many stuff around and we don't even care. We care, but there's no sense of appreciation about it. So I think that's something which needs to change. And I think the younger generation, we tend to think that old people always speak about nostalgia and about things about in the past. But the younger generation of people are far more attentive towards it. I know they're doing it in other forms like doing reels and other things, but they are conscious of it. And I have more hope to this younger generation because they are conscious about these things and getting to learn about it through different media, through Instagram or maybe doing other reels. But they are interested and they are looking forward to the job that we will do in promoting them.
That's the one and only Dr. Vishvesh Kandolkar. Hey, you had his Insta handle on the screen just now, dude. Put it back, Doc. There it is right there. Vishvesh Kandolkar. You're a practicing doctor, yes?
Listen, if somebody shouts out in an airplane saying "Doctor here," I'm not the one who's going to put my hand up because I am a doctor of philosophy, which is very different. I can't save your lives for goodness sake. So please count me out when you have a heart attack.
It is absolutely a pleasure. Thank you. I know you're the shy guy in the background that makes it all happen. You're the puppet master in the background. I absolutely agree with you. It's an absolute shame, Benny, Vanessa. It is an absolute shame in this day and age that you don't have more people appreciate art. Art is something missing all around the world. We went to Europe, we went to Italy and view, like, you actually got to go up and see this artwork that's hundreds of years old, that is really respected, valued, admired by people from all around the world. And just like Dr. Kandolkar was just saying, you've got some of that stuff right here in Goa and nobody gives it a second glance. I'm so thrilled that you guys made the time. I really appreciate it. I can't thank you enough, and I hope you a lot of success. Yes, Joanne.
I was going to say, there's a couple of things before we wind up, because being Easter, I wanted to just ask you a couple of things about that. But also, I think as part of our communication, I was saying that regarding the book itself, it's the converse to the Fair and Lovely messaging. Yeah. Which I have to say, I was so unaware of this for the longest time. And then, when I went back to the UK and I was telling my friends, you'll never believe the kind of products that are on sale in India. They were like, they were really shocked, and I couldn't believe it myself. But from being able to appreciate beauty in the South Asian skin, I think it's phenomenal. And we were just very recently talking about the new Chanel brand ambassador. Mervyn, you want to announce her name? Because I butcher her name.
Bhavitha, I don't know. It's Bhavitha. Right, she's a stunning woman. We did a reel about this young lady.
Beauty and brains, because she was studying for a master's when she was discovered, wasn't she? Yeah,
and she's Indian. I think she's going. I swear to God, deep down inside, I think she's going. But I'm just saying to you, brains and beauty. Is a young lady that has been. She was seen on a subway in NYC. Brilliant young lady, and now she's the opening act at a Chanel fashion show.
She's the brand ambassador.
The brand ambassador. But there she is. We've got pictures of her. It's impressive and really makes you proud. We're getting the recognition, and it's nice to have people finally appreciate and understand that there's a lot more than the mess that you always see and portrayed all over the TVs when you see India. It's an absolute garbage everywhere, traffic and all this kind of stuff. I've got to ask you all a question, one last question to each of you guys. This book, and I hope loads of people come and visit you all starting on the 10th, but I'm going to start with Vanessa this time. Vanessa, what do you elicit as far as what would you like to accomplish with this book? And having people read this book, what do you think? What is a nice wish to have for people to read the book?
Right. Thank you again for this question. I think very importantly is a conversation, and as you mentioned, not reducing a whole personality to a single factor, but understanding the person as a whole, and talking about skin color and your changing not narrow standards of beauty, but going beyond that to having a more open mind and an open heart when dealing with your relationships.
Just look beyond the simple stuff that you see and just get to know. Read the book. Actually, basically, no pun intended, don't judge a book by its cover. Benny, what would you like, as far as same question, what would you like adults or kids to take away from reading this? The Girl Who Was the Color of Nothing.
Thanks. In many ways, it's a rather dark story once you get into it. But I think its message is ultimately one of healing. And I think in all of us as adults, there's still a little bit of a child that is very much in need of being healed. And I hope this story helps do that.
Well put. I couldn't say that better myself. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been speaking to these very interesting people. Listen, we want to wish you once again for Easter. Joanne, did I wish you all for Easter?
No, you didn't, but I don't want you to stop right now.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because we were talking about Bhavitha. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Bhavitha, come on.
Bhavitha. We got a lot of comments around those posts that we did congratulating her. Kirsten, you guys are going to put it up? So we got some very positive stuff. So essentially, we're being told she literally proves that the skin color ain't a thing.
There you go.
Ain't a propaganda, but she elevates her mere beauty. And yes, of course, intelligence. Go, sister, the sky's the limit. And it's saying Indian natural beauty. So it's saying hope she stays away from fake Bollywood and skin bleaching because she has a beautiful skin color. So, obviously that was really resonating with quite a few of our listeners. So, obviously it really ties in, like we said, so much of this is absolutely interlinked. I think on the slightly more negative side. Someone was basically saying, but Chanel want to start tapping into the Indian market. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
I don't think that's a bad thing because
maybe they are. They've got a huge market here in India, right? A big population.
Absolutely.
But the fact that Bhavitha Mandava has made it, I mean, you know what? It comes right back to the color of nothing. At the end of the day, nobody's looking at her skin. I don't think people should be looking at the skin color. She's got a brain in that head of hers, and she's an NYU.
She's a down-to-earth character, and she says her parents are her best friends. So, again, she seems like a great person, and that's really the message that I think you guys also want to promote. It's about your character, essentially.
Totally.
Bottom line.
Thank you, guys. I've really appreciated this.
And what about Easter for everybody? I want to know what Easter means for everybody.
Well, that's the question.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask any of these characters. I'm telling you right now.
They're too exhausted from going to church all the time.
You're finally all your Easter. What is it? What do you give up for Lent and all that kind of celebration?
Oh, yes.
It's going to be.
Finally, I'll be able to have a drink of alcohol after 46 days. Woo woo. I want to know about these guys. What does Easter mean to you guys?
Vanessa, what does Easter mean to you?
Well, I think looking forward to this time of, new realization, and hopefully this book will bring up the conversation and give us new awareness and realization too.
Absolutely. The hope for the future.
Yes.
Brilliant.
You?
Yeah, I think hope for the future is absolutely right, especially in these times where we need peace in this world, man.
Absolutely.
That's an understatement.
If there's one thing that Easter should teach us, especially in this current moment, is peace upon this earth, right?
Absolutely. Peace be with you.
Is this up on the screen, by the way? Is this being displayed right now? No. I love this picture, dude. I love this picture. Can y'all put that on the screen? There it is. Can you scroll up a little bit, Kirsten? Does your finger work? You've got all the religious symbols, and that's what it's all about. Easter is a very important religious feast to us Catholics, but I love the fact that you can integrate this and teach everybody the story. Be proud of the person you are, about the religion that you not only claim to be the person who practices, but also take it and pay it forward. You've got Jewish symbols, Muslim symbols, Buddhist symbols, Hindu symbols. Like you said, there's enough problems with this world right now, with the war and all the negativity. We need some love. We need some peace.
Yeah.
And I hope, my wish for everybody out there listening, ladies and gentlemen, is a lot more peace, a lot more smiles, a lot more happiness. If you can put a smile on somebody's face, every chance you get. Maria, Vanessa de Sa, I'm going to call you by the full names. And I still want to know what the R for Benedito Ferrão. You going to tell us or not?
Once we sell enough books.
There you go. For all the people that go and visit him at the gallery, the Gitanjali gallery in Panjim, starting on the 10th of April, The Girl Who Was the Color of Nothing, a children's story for adults. I think it's a brilliant, it's a great opportunity, and I say this all the time because there's a lot of young people that might be listening. It is a great opportunity to be able to start at a very young age and have these conversations and teach the next generation. They're losing out on a lot that we got to experience and enjoy. And with the age of social media, there's nothing innocent about this. You can see everything as it's happening. I think more parents need to buy this book and have these kind of conversations. This is one of many conversations that parents need to have. So I wish you all the very best. Happy Easter, you guys. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much, and a happy Easter to all of you as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
One more time, The Girl Who Was the Color of Nothing, a children's story for adults, available at the Gitanjali Gallery in Panjim, starting on the 10th of April to the 19th. Go check them out. Go say hello to Benedito and Vanessa. Admire the art. Take it. It's free. You can't go wrong. You cannot miss.
And you might be able to add some art to your collection also.
There you go. You never know. Great opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. A very happy Easter. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Merv Britto, and as always, until the next time, I'm out.